Hey everyone, it's NHL News Sports. Welcome back to another video, and today we're talking about all 32 NHL teams, where they stand at this type of the season. Some have played around 15 to 20 games, some a little bit less because of COVID and all that, like the Senators. But most teams have played around 20 games, roughly 20 games. I don't know if anyone played more than 20 games yet. Maybe the next couple of days, obviously they will start to. But, oh yeah, Toronto played 21 by Detroit. But that's the highest we have here. 17 is Ottawa, and that's the least right now. So, roughly, I should say, around 20 games. Let's say, we're into the season at a 82 game season. So, long season, but where are the teams here 20 games into the season? Are they bombing out here, or are they you gotta wake up and get on a hot streak to make the playoffs, or is it like you really gotta get on a hot streak to make the playoffs, or are you just cruising, doing great, continue to be like that, and just cruise right into the playoffs, and just hope that you're not dead beat, and you can win some series in the playoffs, right? So let's look at all 32 NHL teams at the 20 game mark. Looking at the first one, the Montreal Canadiens. Montreal Canadiens, I don't think any of us thought they would be this poor. Some thought definitely maybe not the playoffs because the Metropolitan division with the wild card situation between that and Atlantic. Usually the Metropolitan teams take that wild card spots there, 1 and 2. So Atlantic teams, the Atlantic Division only gets 3 spots, and that leaves out some teams. So we'll see what happens, but that's what I mean about the Metropolitan teams taking 4 and 5 for that wild card spot. But Montreal right now is in 21 games, 15-14, and in 2 of 4 or 12 points of the season. Not good. Everything has really just between the offense, injuries, just missing key players, like Shea Weber, Carey Price, Joel Edmondson, missing the departure of Philippe Deneau, losing those guys, just to a slow start, trying to get things moving, not doing enough. We saw some good games by them, play a couple full 60 minutes, looking good, and then things will fall apart. The next game, they haven't been able to win back-to-back games yet. 2 games in a row, only one, and then they lose a game. They haven't been able to do that, it's not good because you're not going to make the playoffs if you can't do that. So Montreal finds themselves not very good there, but hopefully they stay in the top 10 of the draft. Because they don't, then that pick goes to Carolina, to the Coyotes, and Montreal would be able to hold on to Carolina, would be 25 to 32, typically, which they don't want that late first round pick. They want their own, which hopefully is a top 5 pick, right? So moving on now to Detroit. Detroit right now is 9-3 with 21 games of the season. Not bad. It started really hot, and then things have kind of slowed down, little bumps in the road, but good to know about Lucas Raymond. He has been absolutely great. He's kind of like that Mitch Marner, the speedy winger down the wing, scoring, passing, doing all that stuff. But he's been good. Mort Seider has been terrific on the defense. This team is just getting better and better. One step at a time. It's just what it takes. But this team is definitely going to be a team, to watch out for the next couple of years for sure. Very good young team. They could have not late, but maybe a top 10 to 15 pick in the draft this coming year. So we'll see if that's possible around that. I'm sure we'll see them. So they might have a 500 record. You never know. We'll see if they do. It'll be interesting. It'll be nice. It'll be a great goal to be at 500 record. To start still taking those steps in the right direction would just be absolutely fantastic. Right now, last in the NHL, in the league, is the Ottawa Senators, who are in 17 games, 4-12-1. COVID has stopped them between 3 games, so they have games in hand, but you got to win those games in hand, right? So that's the thing. They've been slow. They need to we thought they'd be taking more steps, kind of like where Detroit is, or even better than Detroit, like contending for a playoff spot. But why aren't they, just COVID and all that? But slow start, the same thing. The goaltending's been not the best. Defense falling apart there. So, you see those, got to work on them. We'll see how things go for sure. So going on to the next one is the Boston Bruins. Right now, Boston lost 5-2 over the Rangers this afternoon in the Thanksgiving game, which now that makes the record in 17 games 10-7-0. They didn't have any COVID breakouts. It's just how the games have gone. They played less games, but they are 10-7-0 of the season with 20 points. That puts them just out of a wild card spot by a couple of points, and not in Atlantic spot, but just to say, Boston's gotta be a little bit more consistent. The team's gotta be consistent. The team's getting older. They need a rebuild soon. You can just see in a couple years down the road, they need that rebuild. So we'll see what happens. But Swayman played great tonight, making some good stuff. Good saves for sure, but obviously let 4 goals in. That last one was empty net goal, make it the 5th. But they started off good and they fell apart. So you need to have a full 60 minutes and continue with that, not just one game but many games. That's the problem. They lost against Calgary 4-0. They lose this one 5-2 to the Rangers. They gotta get things moving. Moving on to the Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs are now in 21 games, they are 14-6-1. So they started off slow, be like, oh no, what are they doing? They're falling apart here. Then lately they've been really on that hot streak, getting themselves back together, and that's why they're at 14-6-1 of the season. But the Maple Leafs definitely are a team. Good in the regular season. They just gotta find that playoff success and just play good. But you gotta find that playoff success. You gotta just battle, and if you practice that battling like you would be in the playoffs, hopefully they can be ready for the playoffs. Moving on to the Panthers. And the Panthers are a team that have been very good. 14-2-3 of the season, 31 points of the season. They are second in the league, and they've been very good between the offense, the defense, the goaltending. Nothing too bad to say about them. Losing Joe Quenneville, with not even losing the game, definitely hurts, but appropriate for sure. And then, bringing in Andrew Burnett. So, bringing in Andrew Burnett, is interesting because, a brand new guy you just bring in, like, we're winning all these games. We haven't lost a game. But they've done great. Couple little bumps in the road there, but not much of anything. They're doing well. They really are. So, they are definitely a team that will be trying to make it past the first round. Haven't done that since 1996. So, we'll see if they can do that this coming season. The Lightning right now are 11-4-3 of the season, 25 points, third in the Atlantic as we speaking. They are a team that a little slow in the beginning, started to get better for sure. People are disappointed with Brian Elliott. But, they have adjusted their team, losing the whole third line during the off-season, adding Perry, Bellemare, kind of like Kachuk, Boris Kachuk there, and Bullet getting more of a full-time job after getting put on waivers, picked up by Seattle, reclaimed by the Lightning. But he's been playing better. Having those new guys come in, it changes the team. You don't have Gord, you have Johnson, you don't have Coleman, Goodrow. So the chemistry changes, but it looks like they're going back together here. And Kucherov out for who knows how long, and then Points out 4 to 6 weeks. So, they're going to have to just continue to battle this adversity. But they can do it. They have depth. They have good teams. Stamkos's been solid this season, so that's been good for them. Moving on to Buffalo. Buffalo finds himself falling behind after a really hot start, which we didn't expect, and we expect him to become a little bit on the colder side, start to fall apart here, and we do. They play Montreal tonight, but they are 7-10-2 with 16 points of the season in 19 games. So, they lost. Craig Anderson is injured right now, but Tage Thompson has been a big surprise. He's been very good. Dylan Cousins been solid. No Eichel, no Reinhardt, no Ristolainen on the blue line. None of those guys. No Allmark in goal. It's different and surprising they have 7 wins of the season, right? But, Don Granato is the right coach for Buffalo there. He'll do a good job. And they have kind of fallen apart. They have scored. They've been scoring, but the goaltending hasn't been as good because, I know Craig Anderson's 40-41, but he's injured right now. He started good, but Aaron Dell hasn't been too bad whatsoever. He hasn't been very good whatsoever. Trotowski has been okay, fair to poor. So, and that's what we expect, right? For sure. Moving on to the Philadelphia Flairs. They are 8-7-4. They started really good, and now some bumps in the road now. That's the thing. They need to start getting on the hot streak again. They got to. They got to get some more, get on a hot streak. Get more moving here. They a little cold there between Fairbees now on the colder side. You gotta get things moving again. You gotta change things up. Maybe on the power play. Power play always has been struggling the last 3 years. Really has the most. That's the thing they gotta fix to really get that special teams working again, because it's really disastrous. But they need to score more. Martin Jones the last couple of games been lights out. And a couple of the games, they have lost with Martin Jones not because of Martin Jones or Carter Hart, because they haven't scored enough and they didn't deliver. You gotta deliver. In some of the games they got to OT, but the final minute they scored to tie the game. You gotta have a lead, something. You can't always be behind. You gotta be ahead of the game, and that's the problem. So, moving on now to the Islanders, it's been not good for them. Between COVID protocol, Josh Bailey being on that, Chara now added, Andy Green's on that, a bunch of players, and you have injured, Lee's on there too. Now, Pollock's out 4 to 6 weeks, Pellick's on the COVID, protocol. That's your top pairing, Pellick and Pollock, and they're gone. That stings. In the offense, the depth is really being tested. The goaltending hasn't been the best, but you don't have the defense. You don't have Pellick, you don't have Pollock to shut down these top lines. How Barry Trotz plays. You just don't have those guys, and he's trying. It's just the team's it's running on, testing the depth a lot, isn't it? Moving on to now the New Jersey Devils. Let me just tell you what the Islanders' record is. 5-9-2 the season with 12 points, 16 games. They got to get things moving. They really got to. Because this Metropolitan Division is not going to let up. The only thing will get you there is to get on a hot streak. And you got to get players back, really. You got to get players back. Now, moving on to now the Devils. Devils right now are 8-5-4, 20 points of the season. A couple points out of a wild card spot, but the other team, Dougie Hamilton's been good. Jack Hughes, you definitely miss. Hopefully he'll be back very soon. In a week or two would be perfect. They need him back for sure. That's what you need. The team's been good. Blackwood's been okay. Bunyan's been okay. Nothing too fancy between them both there. They've been okay. That hasn't been fantastic, but they've been winning games and finding ways to win. They got Nathan Bastian back on the Devils after the Kraken picked him up from the expansion draft. So, the Devils are holding their own. We'll see how they do. If they can hold it during the season. First 20 games, they've been not bad. 8-5 4 overtime losses. They gotta fix that, but you can win if you can get to OT and get at least a point. I guess that's good, right? So, very good by them. Moving on to the Rangers, they are third in the Metropolitan Division, but they would be higher if the Metropolitan Division wasn't so deep. They are actually fourth in the league right now. They just won over Boston 5-2. They are 13-4-3 and 29 points this season. They've been lights out. I thought losing Pavel Buchnevich to the Blues and for Sammy Blais in a second round pick would sting them, but bringing Sammy Blais, being that utility guy, was great, and then they lose him too, to his knee. He's out for the season, not just out for weeks or months, for the season, indefinitely. So, maybe playoffs, I don't know, but Sammy Blais would be out. That stings. He's your utility guy. He can play on the first line, second line, third line, fourth line, kind of like a Zach Hyman, but won't get as many goals. But he's reliable. Some players who play on the first line, they're like, oh, that's too much time for them. But for Sammy Blais, he can play those first line minutes. He'll be fine with a Zibanejad and a Panarin or something like that. Just to be there as a utility guy, sandpaper type of guy. But the team's been good. Dryden Hunt has played. He actually had a goal and assist tonight, kind of like that utility guy now for them to replace Sammy Blais. Not as much, but I guess he's just there temporarily. See how he does, and he's done it so far. Not bad. But Zibanejad, Panarin's been good. Fox has been like he's been. Lindgren's just been taking a step on defense, doing a great job. Lafreniere getting better, got a goal tonight from Julian Gauthier. Very good there. Chris Kreider's been outstanding. Tried a lacrosse move tonight. Very good by him. Almost went in. Almost. I was like, oh man, that was close. It was a great game for him. Shesterkin's been lights out. Very good. Moving on to the Capitals. The Capitals are 12-3-5 this season. OT is a problem for them now, getting to OT, but they are a team dominant. Ovechkin doing his thing. Without Backstrom, that's amazing what they can do. But Kuznetsov's been very good. Bounce back season for him has been good. Samsonov and Vitek Vanacek in goal. Been good. Oshie's now out, but the team's been, tested, and they just been prevailing at this point. So they've been good. They just play like, the Washington Capitals, and it feels like Backstrom's there, and, Oshie and all of them, and they're not. So, they're playing good, which is good to see. Moving on to the Penguins, they are 9-6-4 this season with 22 points. They actually started to fall off, and then Crosby came back, and then now they're starting to win games again. But they've been good, even without Crosby, with Malkin out, and Letang and Carter that time, and Rust out. Remember all those times? With Gensel, they were all out, and then Toronto somehow lost against them. But, Pittsburgh is a team that I'm sure they're going to at least get a wild card spot. I'm thinking they will. If they can get Malcolm back soon. One thing I would add, trade to Smith, get a pick or two or something to get a upgrade in goal to help out Joey. Joey's been great, but he needs that reassurance. He needs like that Fleury. Bring Fleury back to Pittsburgh or something. They could use that. Or maybe Fleury, or maybe the Penguins pick up Sam Moltenbo after Carey Price comes back. That could be a possibility. Moltenbo's been good. He has been good. It just, if teams just melt down in front of him, like the Montreal Canadiens, the defense melts down in front of him, and he's like, what can I do? I'm trying to be as good as I can. And he has been great. So maybe that's the guy they pick up or something like that. Experienced guy like a Jonathan Quick, but I don't know if they're going to give him up now. So we'll see how things go. Moving on to Carolina. Carolina is 15-3-1 this season. They've been outstanding with Rod Brind'Amour's coaching ideas, his way he goes between the offense, the defense, the goaltending. You get rid of Mrazek, you get rid of Alexander Delkovich, and you get rid of James Rami, 3 goalies. And they bring in 2 new goalies, Freddie Anderson and Antti Raanta, and they played lights out. So that's amazing to see. It shows that any goal you put in Carolina is going to play great, no matter who you are. So that is great to see. A bounce-back season from Freddie Anderson, beautiful. But the team's amazing. It is. One thing about them is Jesperi Kotkaniemi only has about 3 points. He's been the disappointing factor here, but they can always do something about it, right? Moving on to the Minnesota Wild. And Minnesota's been very good also. Minnesota this season, 13-6-1 with 27 points. They lead the Central Division here. Very good defensively. The goaltending actually hasn't been as good as last year. A little shaky there. The offense has been solid. Some solid young ones coming in there. Jordan Greenway has been a little on the cold side, but Freddie Gaudreau's been interesting. He's been good. The team has been good. Kaprizov's been good. Making Rask relevant again, and Zuccarello's been solid, and the team's been good. And Ryan Hartman playing first line center with first, second. You have Hartman, then you have Eriksson Ek, and playing good. Whoever thought that would be where he would become? We thought that with the Hawks, maybe something like that, but he lost his, kind of going to Nashville and Philly and the Stars and all that, and not even playing for the Stars, and he finds himself in Minnesota, and he gradually finds himself back to what he projected to be. So great to see that. The Blues are actually second in the Central Division, 10-7-3 with 23 points of the season. They have had games that they deserved to win, but they have lost them, unfortunately. But they have great offense. They brought in Brandon Saad over the offseason. They bring Pavel Buchnevich over the offseason. Guys like that, and they've been good. They've been good, and they played great. And Taylor Sinker having a great bounce-back season after a guy who said, I don't want to stay with the Blues. Well, he's been great. So he's been really, really good. Great to see that. The team's been playing great. Nothing bad to say about that. Moving on to the Nashville Predators. Nashville finds himself a couple points, actually tied for the second wildcard spot with Colorado, which they are at 10-8-1 with 21 points of the season. Nashville has been a team that a little up and down, more of a defensive type of team, trying to, they always find themselves out of the loop, like, oh, they're done, and they try to get right back in it, and they get a hot streak or something. Duchesne's been terrific this season. This is what they signed him for. This is the best Duchesne has done as a Nashville Predator, so very good to see that. Moving on to now the Blackhawks. Blackhawks have absolutely trash with Jeremy Colleton bringing in King as the head coach. Has really worked out good for them. Now they're 7-11-2, improved the record to that. It's good. Better than before, but Flairs been playing better. The team's been playing better. It's good to see. But I don't know if they'll make the playoffs still. So, you know what I mean? We'll see what happens. Moving on to Colorado, they're not the best start of the season, but now they're starting to get things moving here. They're 10-5-1 with 21 points this season. Second wildcard spot without McKinnon right now. He'll be back pretty soon, but Darcy Kemper hasn't been the best. He's been a little disappointing now, thinking maybe he would be a Vezina Trophy finalist or something this coming year, but he hasn't been really good. We'll see if he can turn things around. But the team has doing better, for sure. Moving on to the Jets. The Winnipeg Jets are third in the Central, 9-7-4, 22 points of the season. They are doing okay. Peter Dubois is doing a good job there. Blake Wheeler he's actually on the colder side. Hellebuck has been okay. But the team, better defense. Nate Schmidt, Brendan Dillon, you need those guys. Good to see those guys added to the team, playing good. And Peter Dubois looking out like a good pickup for them for sure, because he's got to sign his new deal this coming season, right? More than $5 million, right? So we'll see how things go. Moving on to Dallas, they have been a disappointment this season, thinking they would do better. They've been doing good, and then they fall apart, up and down. They are 8-7-2 of the season with 18 points. They are out of a wild card spot by about 4 points, but they are a team that gotta get things moving, and you gotta find it somehow to score. Between Sagan, Ben, Robertson's been good, but the team just they have 4 goalies. Bishop, who's obviously is not playing right now. Hudobin hasn't been the best. You have Hope's been good, but I don't know, he hasn't played lately. So Andrew's a guy. So Andrew, you gotta play him. He'll shut it down. You gotta win games, and that's how you do it. Moving on to Arizona, they are 4-14-2. What a awful team they are, right? With the bad contracts. But actually, lately they have been doing better. I have to tell you, winning games. 2-1 in overtime. Games like that. Scott Redwood has been terrific. He has not lost a game with the Coyotes yet, which has just been terrific for him. He's been great. And even Phil Melka has been good. Very good. It's just the team couldn't win under him. It'd be like 1-1 or like 2-0 against like the Capitals or something. And that would be the final score or something like that. He's played good. It's just the team hasn't won for him. So, except one win for him. Moving on now to the Vancouver Canucks. They've been a disaster. I'll talk about them in a different video, but they are 6-12-2 of the season, 14 points. They need to find something. They really need to. I think Travis Green's got to go. I think the offense is great. The defense is okay, but you can get by with it. The goaltending is solid. It needs more. They're not gelling together. That's what you need. And they're not doing that. You got to do that. So, I think you need a better coach. Petey's not doing as good. Quinn Hughes isn't doing as good. That's the problem. You need to get those guys moving. You have great players here. You have Golden, you have Hoglander, Podkolzin, Horvat, Bessel, Pedersen. Just forwards alone, just great stuff. And why can't you do better, and score better? You can. That team's a offensive, dynamic team. Why can't you score? Not saying that Jim Benning hasn't done a bad job. Oh, he's done okay this offseason, I thought. But the problem is Travis Green at this point. Benning's probably done the best he's ever done so far, bringing in the best he can here for offense and all that stuff, and he can't do anything. Frustration, isn't it? That's what I mean. Moving on to the Sharks, they actually started really good. Now they're dipping heel. 10-8-1 the season. Not the best. Now, they were 4-0, in the season, but you start to drop here. The Sharks are an older team. They want to make the playoffs. They want to do that. They're not good enough. They need to be a rebuilding team. They're not good enough. Go rebuild. But players obviously are not going to say that. Veterans obviously not going to say that. Like Eric Carlson, or Couture, and LeBanc, and guys like that, like Vlasic and Burns, and guys like that. They're not going to say, "Oh, let's go tank for the team." They're going to be like, "No, we're going to make the playoffs, right? We want to be that team." Obviously. So that's how things go. Carlson doesn't want to rebuild, but you obviously do need to rebuild. You need those young guys. Moving on now to the Edmonton Oilers. Edmonton has been absolutely fantastic. They are actually 7th in the division. 7th in the league right now. But they are 14-5-0, 28 points. Leon Draisaitl has 40 points in 19 games, 20 goals, 20 assists. That is absolutely incredible to hear. That is just mind-boggling. Just 36 points by McDavid, 40 by Draisaitl. That is just incredible. It's been good, and Koskinen's been solid too. Great to see. Moving on to Calgary, they've been great. Markstrom's been terrific, absolutely terrific. And Dan Vladar has been absolutely terrific, also shutting out his former team, the Boston Bruins, the other game too. But he's been great. He played Boston, he played Toronto, playing top-notch hockey right there. I really like how he's been playing. He's been good. Good to see him get himself a regular job in the NHL here with the Flames as a backup goalie to Markstrom, and he's been reliable. Really has been. Great to see that. Moving on to the Ducks, they've been exciting to watch between Jamie Drysdale, Trevor Zegras, Mason McTavish now goes back to the own OHL there, but he's a great player. Max Comso only has 1 point in 13 games. That's a problem right there. Lundstrom's been solid. The team's been good. It's been just fun to watch, just taking that next step in the rebuild is good to see. Really good to see. But they have a really good team, and they're going to get better and better, and Troy Terry has been absolutely fantastic on that 16-game point streak, and then it did stop, but I'm not saying he won't continue to be a great player through the season. He will be. Definitely will be. Moving on to the Kings. The Kings, the record they have is 8-3, starting off cold, going on a 7-game win streak, and then a couple losses lately. But they are a good team. They're trying to battle for a playoff spot. They're saying the rebuild's over. It's time for the playoffs, and you gotta pick a time. You can't go rebuild for 10 years. You gotta say, all right. You gotta know when to be like, we had drafted, we did our research, we got our guys, we got our young guys. Time to chop it off right here. Our rebuild is done. It is now time to win, battle for a playoff spot. That's, it's hard to get out of the rebuild, but sometimes you just gotta say, you got the guys you need, you're confident in the young guys you got. They have great young guys, for sure. It's time to cut it off. Rebuild is over. Playoffs, we need a target now. And that's what you gotta do. And they got Brand Clark in the last draft, so that's good. They got those guys, but they are a team. Bringing Philippe Deneau, bringing Alex Edler, bringing guys like that. They could use help on defense. But Quick's been good. Cal Peterson hasn't been the best after signing that $5 million contract. Interesting there, but we'll see how things go. Moving on to Vegas. They are 12-8-0 with 24 points this season. No Pacioretty, no Stone, no Carlson. They did amazing. Pacioretty finally came back now on Wednesday. Good to see him back now. But they have been winning. At first they were slow, not winning, but now they find ways to win without their core pieces, which is amazing. It is very amazing. So good to see that. Moving on to the Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets actually hold a wild card spot, the first one. They are 11-6-0 with 22 points. They do have problems with their team, but they have found ways to win and be hard and win things and find ways. And in some games they have been blown out. But they've been good. Voracek's been good. Jake Bean's been good. Domi's getting back to his normal routine. Vasovic has been slow, trying to get himself where he needs to be. Laine doing a good job with Wensky. Boudreau's been great as a captain. First year as a captain. Excellent. Great job, for sure. Moving on to now the Seattle Kraken. They are in 19 games, 6-12-1, 13 points this season. That's a stinger. But you know what? I'd rather be like that instead of have that mediocre run like the finals in the first year, because you gotta build that foundation. Vegas is impatient. We don't have a center. We need that franchise center, Jack Eichel. We want more defense. Alex Pietrangelo, Alec Martinez. Things like that. But I think they're gonna build it the right way. They have the pieces. Right now it's ugly. Grubauer's not playing the best. The offense, the shots, trying to do what they usually do, not fail, unfortunately, but build that foundation. So far they have in the prospect pool 2 guys I know so far, Matt Beniers and Vico Evans, the center with Matt Beniers. Next year I'm sure they'll start to play. And they have Vico Evans, who's a defenseman. So, and then this year, get another top 5 pick, get like a Brad Lambert, Shane Wright, Matt Savoy, or a guy like that, anyone like that. You get some good picks here. A deep draft between centers, wingers, and defense. You can get the guy you want. So, not saying pick by position, but just draft someone good, pick the guy you think is going to be the best possible option, and go for it. You need that for sure, but it's going to be something that people thought they would make the playoffs. But you know what? They need to build from the bottom up, and we'll see how they do, right? So thank you for watching the NHL News Sports, kind of where we are, 20 games in the season, how things are going. So I'll see you next video. Bye.